So we're ready for our Chillaxin. So we're going to go into our Sumo, which is our beginner pose. It's our go-to. Enter in all the upright positions through Sumo. Pushing the swing down nice and low because it's always going to ride up. We can either hold on or just lean back. You know, it's okay to hold on if it feels like it's like, oh my God, that's so far. But that's our first moment of trust. And then we're going to slide in, feet touch the front of the mat. Use the shape of the mat to define the space. So heel, toe wide to 10 and 2. Drop the hips, stay straight up and down. So if your toes are not on the edge of the mat, that means your tailbone is not in the center, right where our logo is. So it's really important to get the alignment first. And then we're going to reach around. Let's grab for the right leg loop with both hands. Let's try our core activation now that we know. Pull down strongly. And then go ahead and inhale and expand. Pull down strongly. So even from Chillaxin, when we're getting the leg loops on, it could be a core activation. Then pull down and get the foot in there. Otherwise, people can't get their leg loops on because they're not really pulling and engaging because you have to lift through your core. Second side. Go ahead and come right into it. Lift and get that leg loop on. Just one. Go ahead and lift. Good. Awesome. Yeah. Hiya. Or I just say karate chop that foot up there and bend your knees to slide in. Whenever you need, take a break. Chillaxin arms, lean back, make some adjustments. Okay? So the first thing I do in my Chillaxin pose is I use my Chillaxin arms, which is where the name came from, interlacing the fingers behind the back of the head. And then I'm going to gently rock from side to side. I call it swagger. So you can have a lot of swagger and a lot of play, right? So this would be our circular movement, Amy, right? Coming into circles. As opposed to side to side. Most people try to go side to side here and it doesn't really work. It's a spin, it's a spiral. Yeah. So let the swing slide up just slightly more, Amy, so it's right behind the heart. Just a little bit, right there. Yeah, good. So you feel the difference? Yeah. So you don't want to flare out the ribs. So people ask me, Petra, you asked some good questions about the navel. So my navel is always pulling in and up, which helps me engage through the ribs, even though my hips are dropped.
And does that keep these muscles pulled together? Or
well, I'm kind of pulling everything towards the center line. Okay. Yeah. So I'm pulling in and up through my core, so my ribs are just like flaring out. So it's a little bit of like pinning the rib cage down so the sternum can lift. So it's actually like the sternum lifting with the ribs pulling down. And it's just that little bit of shift will help the difference between just, bending at the adrenals, which the adrenals don't like that pinching in the back body, and the sternum really lifting, so the upper thoracic. If the swing is too low and they're really flaring out their ribs, they're not going to get the big heart opening, so they're kind of missing out on that goodness. Okay, great. So from our swagger, we're going to use our momentum. Let's go ahead and get the right foot on top of the left. It's kind of a repeat of what we did, but this is our pigeon pose. Isn't this nice? Right, compared to like our last sequence. So just play a little bit with pressing the hips up, but then pushing the hips down. So usually the hips are locked and trying to float away. Push the hips down, Petra, all the way. Yeah, ground it. There it is, ground sit bones. Now we can just stay here if this is enough. If we want to deepen the stretch, we're going to inhale, open the arms. Exhale, hug the leg loops towards you. So dive in with your heart, right? So keep the head in line with the body. Pull the heart. The hands towards the heart. You feel the difference? Is that amazing? So go ahead and inhale and expand one more time. Exhale, round and squeeze. You can do a few undulations with the breath since it is kind of intense in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to inhale and expand. Go back to your Chillaxin arms. Keep the hips heavy. Now we extend the legs. So this would look like our hook. Remember, keep those hips low. Good. So straight leg if you can. Leg slides up. Well, yeah, that's one leg. Straighten the other one. There you go. Let it slide up the leg loop. Cool. So this is our extended leg twist. Way better, right? Does this feel better? Yeah. So the number 3 version of it was like way more advanced than the average beginner. So this is a nice variation, especially even pigeon, because pigeon was pretty intense with the leg loops at the ankles. I just like to show people both versions so they know where you go. So Chillaxin is a really good choice if somebody is a little bit more of an advanced beginner, more experienced person who is new to the swing, but is pretty strong yoga. They're probably going to like the leg loops with the ankles. And then let's add the twist. Look underneath the right armpit. So with the twist, we can stay here supporting the head. We can extend the arms. Okay, we can actually hold on to the foot or what is that? That is the leg loop. And then push and pull in the space to twist a little bit further. Ooh la la. Really good. Release. Let's go back to Chillaxin arms. Unfurl. Back to swagger. Let yourself spin from side to side. Let that feel good. Maybe play, make it a little bit bigger as long as we don't kick anybody. Have some real fun with it. So even when we're in our sumo, we could really create some big circles and some big sway. Usually I just keep it slow at the beginning, and then when we get to Chillaxin, I really let people go for it. By that time, they've really gotten their comfort level, they've gotten their hooks, you know. Most of the time they're going to stay. We always keep our elbows on the outside of the swing, though. We don't ever want to do this, right? So that's why I keep the elbows wide. So if anything ever happens, then the hook is right there. All right, let's come back to the center. Let's get the left foot on top. Second side, pigeon pose. So in pigeon pose, because the hips do like to push up towards the sky, or I call it float away, we're going to really sink the hips down, really ground the sit bones towards the earth. Chillaxin arms is a nice option. We're going to inhale, open the arms. Exhale, hug the leg loops towards us. Deepen the stretch. Keep the foot flexed if your knee feels any discomfort. Inhale, blossom, open up. Exhale, round in and squeeze. Inhale, open. And exhale, hug. Hug the leg loops towards you. Good. Now from here, we're just going to go back to Chillaxin arms. Open it up, straighten the leg, so my left foot just slides up the leg loop, and then I add a little twist. A little twist can be really simple. I can just look underneath my left armpit. Keep the hips nice and heavy. Notice if they're trying to float away. So the stretch is when we drop the hips. This is not the stretch. This is the stretch. So really push the hips down as you lift the chest. Usually it's one or the other. When people push the hips down, they'll lose the upper body, keep the upper body lifted, and push the hips down, and then you'll feel the IT again. Feel it? Oh yeah. Now if we want to deepen the twist, we're going to extend the arms, and then hold on to the outer edge of the foot, or the leg loop, and then push and pull into space, right? Ooh, extended leg twist. Beautiful, guys. To unfurl, you just lift that foot up. Come on back to center. Swagger is a great neutralizer for the spine whenever you want to take a little break. Remember, swagger in all these poses, the heart points up towards the sky, head is sinking back into the hands, and head is heavy. So we want to just make sure that we keep our heart opening in all of these poses, and the head can relax back a bit. Okay, great. Let's come on back to center and try our chill flow. In our chill flow, we're going to start rotating the arms. And then we're going to go into a child's pose. So floating child's is a nice way to take a little pause. Inhale, blossom for star, long arms, long legs, keep the hips heavy. Exhale, round in and squeeze for child's. Just do that part and underneath the spine. Inhale, blossom. Exhale, squeeze. This time, inhale, blossom, stay here. Let's bring our hands to prayer and to namaste around the swing. Legs squeeze together. Again, press the hips up, reverse it. Notice that it feels different with the leg loops at the knees. It's not the same pose. It's a little bit easier. It's actually harder to get the hips up this high. Reach up, grab for the swing, let it slide into the waist for ladle. Since we've done this before, we're going a little bit faster. Toes touch, legs are straight. Either keep your hands where they are or let them float out to the side and then overhead for the full ladle pose. And from ladle, we bend the knees. If you're happy here, you can reach back with your ankles and come into a bow pose. That might be too much, so just stay in ladle or keep holding on to the swing. So let's all try it. Release your ankles, reach up and hold on to the swing and open up the chest. Now this is a very legit bow pose for a beginner person. They don't have to reach for the ankles. When you're ready to come up, bicep curl, inhale, lift the head, exhale, lower the hips simultaneously, and come to sit. Whew. So we expedited that process because typically what we would do with a beginner, you'll see in the workshop, is we'll do T, child, star, T, child, star. Okay, now watch, right? And then from star, show them how to come into namaste. After we do namaste, we'll add that on. So I kind of stretch this out. This could be like a whole 15-minute sequence. And I would do T, child, star, namaste, and then come on back to sit. Now I'd say, okay, now let's watch for ladle. And so from namaste, we have to hold on to the swing, slide it into the sweet spot, and either hold on or come on. And then I would come up one more time, have them, woo, because they're going to get our head rush, and then I would bring them into bow. If you just walk them right through, you probably lose someone along the way, and so we go back and catch them up in demo. And sometimes it's nice if somebody is really having trouble to come over and help them get the swing into the sweet spot. What normally happens is the swing is way too high, they drop their butt, and they're trying to reach for the ankles, and it just looks incredibly uncomfortable in the body. So you want to help them get the hips up. Get the swing nice and low. It takes a little shimmying sometimes, getting around the love handles, and then the feet are right there. Usually I don't have people grab their feet until it's, accessible, because this is great. Okay, you guys want to try it one more time, or do you feel like you got it? I know you guys have been doing the chill flow, so it's not like new information. One more time?
Yeah, I think we can do one more.
Great, yeah, let's piece it all together. So inhale T, exhale child, inhale star, exhale namaste, inhale press the hips up, exhale release the head back. Take a breath. Next inhale, reach up, grab for the swing, exhale ladle, let it slide into your waist, just make sure it goes really comfortable across the hips. Inhale, arms wide, exhale, arms overhead. Stay here. Nice big inhale. If you want to go deeper, exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, swing the arms back. Exhale, lift the chest. Take a couple deep breaths in our bow pose. Pull the feet away from the heart. Inhale, release. Exhale, grab the swing. Inhale, head up. Exhale, hips down. Good. Simultaneously.
You're saying head up, hips down. I think when I took your workshop, you said hips down, head last. Have you changed your mind on that?
Nope, it's just the same thing.
Okay.
It's just like simultaneously. Did you hear me say simultaneously? So it just depends on what I'm in the mood for. But it's the hips drop as the head lifts simultaneously. So we don't do like head up, hips down like one at a time. It's like we'll work with a pivot point tomorrow. As soon as my head starts to lift, my hips drop.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sometimes I'll reverse it because people will crunch with their head, and then what I've seen other people do is they start to drop their hips and they leave their head behind. So that's why I try to say head up and hips down.
So that's the easiest upper deck is to make it one sort of.
Yeah, or it's supposed to be like a pencil, it's like this.
Uh-huh.
They're not supposed to bend and collapse in the middle, So, yeah, same thing. So you can do inhale, drop the hips, lift the head. Or you can say inhale, lift the head, drop the hips simultaneously. Simultaneously is the most important word.
Okay.
Is there a position for the hands when you're in star to get the correct rotation in the shoulders?
Thank you. Thumbs up in all the poses. This is the cool Jesus move. You'll hear me say that a lot.
Okay.
Turn the thumbs up. So thumbs down, not only is that like boo, but it closes the shoulder. When we have thumbs up, it opens the shoulder. Yeah. And then open the palms. So most of the time in all the poses, you'll hear me say T the arms too, because people are going way too far back and they're losing the alignment. So even keep the arms in a T and then just let the heart lift from there. Instead of just letting the arms collapse back, it's a T. We're going to practice that next. If anybody needs a break, we're going to reach for our knees, slide up our leg loops as high as possible, bicep curl up to stand, and let them slide to the upper thighs, the groin. Yeah, so let's try that one more time. So what we do is we squeeze the legs together as we bicep curl, letting the feet come to the center of the mat. It's amazing how many people have trouble with that. So let's just try it again and make sure in our own bodies, we're like, okay, heart leads the way, head directly over the spine, and press the hips forward. Let's try it one more time. Okay? When we reach for our knees, we have to really reach up as high as we can to lift, right? So we're going to inhale, bicep curl, lead with the heart, press the hips forward, there you go, and squeeze. Beautiful. So that's what we learn how to do when we do any of the lifts. It's that same movement. That's why I like to call these training wheels, because you can see you can't come to stand unless you start to press and lift and squeeze. So let's go ahead and try our butterfly. We're going to get into our butterfly and skydiver pose here, and then we're going to come back to it. So if you're clearly seeing people who are really having trouble with the swing kind of back, mix it up. You know, even here, if you wanted to come into, and this is not in the manual, so if you're like, I don't remember seeing that, we can bring the swing in front of us and press it down and come into our forward folds from here. So if somebody really is not liking the swing behind the back, you can come into your floating leaf and try a headstand and all these variations from here. So they're going to be really floating. So mix it up, right? Don't be afraid to change. If you know you're in the middle of a sequence and they're done. I always say when you're teaching a beginner, if you can do the first 3 poses of any of these sequences, you're good. Just move on, right? If you get into 4, 5, 6, it's probably the more challenging ones, and I kind of did that on purpose. So you're like, try this, oh, okay, you're doing good, and then if they're not doing good, just back up to the one previous. Okay, so we're going to stand with our feet in front of us. They're not going to touch the front of the mat, but make sure you're in more of a diaper than a thong, because if the leg loops are too far back behind you, you won't be able to come forward. We're going to hold on to not the leg loops now, but the swing. So hold on to the swing for me. There you go. The swing instead of leg loops. So that little space there, you're going to bring your hands to prayer. We're going to push our hands forward, and then we're going to bring them wide, just to a T though, just to a T. Come on back. T. With your thumbs, look at your hands. So instead of, okay, yeah, to a T. Most people are like this, and it actually is creating tension in the upper back. This is a line, so this is a straighter, stronger line. So cool Jesus, right? Thumbs up in all these poses. And then from here, we're going to walk our feet wide, just wide. Maybe you have to negotiate with the leg loops, getting on to the outer edge of the hip flexors. Okay? And then from there, we can bend from side to side a little bit. So head up, heart lifted, pressing the hips forward. And then if you feel fancy and you want to float, go ahead and try and lift the toes. There you go. Now we're skydiving. And sometimes I'll like to flap the wings. If a lot of people are having trouble teeing the arms, I'll tell them to flap the wings. And notice when you press your arms forward, your chest lifts. And when your arms go back, your head dives. So that's why we want to keep the arms in a T. Right out of the shoulders. So lift your hands, come higher. There you go, that's the T. Great. Okay, so the feet can come down for a moment. We're going to slide into our flex. Remember our flex? So it's not here, right? It's all the way up here. So we're going to flex, let the leg loose slide, let the swing slide into the elbows. So all the way up here, remember? Come on back and, yeah, there you go. Try it again. And then we can float, bring the feet together, knees stay wide. Now we're in our butterfly. Now in our butterfly position, we're really letting our heart drop. These are one of the few poses where it's okay to let the head be heavy. Although I like to keep the head in line with the body just to keep those principles in the forefront of our thinking and let the heart drop. Whew. Does everybody feel the openness in the chest? This is a much more gentle opening than the one we're going to do next. So if anybody has trouble getting into butterfly, just say that's okay. Let's try a high skydiver. And it makes it kind of fun. Okay, bring the feet back down to the ground, wide center on the mat. Engage with your arms and lift. Woo, lean back. Very good. Lean back. We're going to hold on to the leg loops and press them back down to the knees, dropping the hips, sliding on in. Whee, back to Chillaxin. Okay, so get the swing into a good spot. So if it rides up, maybe just kind of hop and get it nice and low again. So we're going to bend the knees so it's not going to work out to spread this out.
Bummer. My knees hurt really bad. I wore the wrong pants.
Oh, yeah, the mesh behind the knees. I've done that once. It wasn't that great. Okay, so reach for the knees. Slide up the leg loops as high as possible. Let's try that one more time. We're going to bicep curl up into a wide straddle and then exhale, squeeze. Good. Lead with the heart, right? Bicep curl. Keep the head directly over the spine, over the tailbone. Exhale, squeeze. Now we're going to inhale, lift, and we're going to try and balance. See if you can bring the arms in front of the leg loops. Lead with the heart. Gaze up. Got guys. So in our skydiver, because the hips are usually tight, we're going to just undulate back and forth a few times. So see if you can push the hips forward, not the head. Keep the head over the body. I know, the tight spot. I know. All the squinting faces. There you go. And once we feel comfortable, we're going to press forward in the skydiver. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, keep the heart lifted, keep your feet lifted too. You push your hips forward, that's it. Yeah, you just have to get over the hump. Keep pushing your hips forward, lift your feet, there you go. Yeah, get over the hump. There's a hump over there. Yeah. Beautiful, and we're flexing, right? Remember, if your hands like to slide down to your waist, try to keep them up nice and high. It's a totally different stretch for the shoulders. Slide into your elbows, though. Let yourself slide in a little bit. Yeah, there you go. You're really holding on. So we really want to open in these poses. This is actually supposed to be a relaxation pose. It's like, ha-ha. Very funny. But yes, so we're spreading the hips, spreading the chest, opening up everything. And then to come out of it, we're going to start to pull your feet down back towards the ground, sink the hips back, and you'll catch with your arms. Whee! Back into Chillaxin. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Sink back, sink your hips back. Yeah, and you have to pull with your arms. Feet down towards the ground, sink your hips back, pull with your arms. Yeah, I didn't do that. That's okay, the leg loops just rode up a little too high. You can always put your feet on the earth if you need. Okay, so that was the Chillaxin sequence. We went through our chill flow. We did our seated pigeon from side to side with extended legs. There's lots of variations we can do there. And then we went right into our butterfly and skydiver. Okay? All right. So, we're just going to go for it and do 4B real quick. Let me index this so you'll have another video. We don't have to do everything, but I'm going to show you the lunges, and then you guys